What was hygiene like at the court of Versailles? During the reign of Louis XIV, the court of Versailles emerged as a symbol of royal power and grandeur, representing the zenith of French absolutism in the 17th century. This magnificent palace, with its lavish architecture and exquisite gardens, served as the epicenter of political and cultural life in France. However, beneath the surface of this opulence lay a stark contrast. The hygiene conditions at court were far from pristine. Despite the splendor surrounding them, courtiers often faced unpleasant realities, including inadequate sanitation and the pervasive stench of unwashed bodies. As we delve into the intriguing yet surprising aspects of life at Versailles, prepare to uncover the unsavory truths that lurked behind the gilded facades, revealing a court life that was as challenging as it was glamorous. Originally built as a hunting lodge for Louis XIII, Versailles was transformed by King Louis XIV into a grand palace that epitomized his vision of absolute monarchy. In 1682, Louis XIV moved his royal court to Versailles, seeking to consolidate power and control over the French aristocracy. His ambitious renovations turned the lodge into an extravagant symbol of wealth and authority, complete with stunning gardens and opulent interiors. By relocating the court, Louis aimed to centralize political life and diminish the influence of nobles in their own regions. The expectation for French aristocrats to reside at Versailles was a strategic move, compelling them to participate in court life and adhere to the king's whims, thereby ensuring their loyalty while simultaneously showcasing the grandeur of his reign. In the 17th century, common beliefs about hygiene and bathing were steeped in misconceptions, particularly regarding the use of hot water. Many people thought that bathing in hot water could open the pores and invite illness, leading to a widespread aversion to regular washing. Historian Jules Harper sheds light on the bathing practices of the time, noting that while some advocated for cleanliness, others believed that dirt served as a protective barrier against disease. King Louis XIV himself exemplified these beliefs. He was known for his infrequent bathing and preferred to rely on perfumes and powders to mask odors. His personal hygiene habits reflected the prevailing attitudes of the era, revealing a fascinating tension between the opulence of court life and the often questionable standards of cleanliness among the elite. Louis XIV and his courtiers navigated personal hygiene practices that starkly contrast with modern standards. Without access to contemporary deodorants, they managed body odors primarily through the liberal use of perfumes, which were considered essential for masking unpleasant smells. These fragrances, often derived from flowers and spices, were applied generously to ensure a more pleasant presence in the opulent court. Additionally, the frequency of shirt changes became a status symbol among courtiers. Many would change their shirts multiple times a day to project an image of cleanliness and affluence. This practice not only highlighted their wealth, but also served as a means to combat the odors that accumulated in the absence of regular bathing. Thus, the court's approach to hygiene was a complex interplay of societal expectations and personal habits. At Versailles, toilet facilities were rudimentary and often inadequate, reflecting the heir's limited understanding of hygiene. Courtiers primarily relied on chamber pots, which were discreetly used in private quarters, while public latrines were available but far from sanitary. The absence of modern plumbing exacerbated the situation, leading to unpleasant odors and unsanitary conditions throughout the palace. Waste disposal was a significant issue, as chamber pots were often emptied into the gardens or courtyards, contributing to the overall lack of cleanliness. It wasn't until the reign of Louis XV that a significant advancement occurred with the installation of the first flush toilet at Versailles. This innovation marked a turning point in royal sanitation, highlighting the evolving attitudes toward hygiene and the need for improved facilities in such a prestigious setting. Eyewitness accounts from the court of Versailles vividly describe the overwhelming odors that permeated the palace, creating an often unbearable atmosphere. Courtiers frequently noted the horrendous smells resulting from inadequate sanitation practices, including the improper disposal of waste and the infrequent bathing habits of the nobility. In an effort to mask these unpleasant scents, courtiers resorted to lavish applications of perfumes, believing that strong fragrances could counteract the pervasive stench. However, the sheer volume of body odor, combined with the environmental conditions such as the crowded living spaces and the warm, humid climate, made these attempts largely futile. The combination of these factors created a unique and challenging olfactory experience at Versailles, where the opulence of the court was often overshadowed by the realities of hygiene and sanitation. At the court of Versailles, sexual behavior was marked by a complex web of moral contradictions. The presence of sex workers around the palace grounds was a common sight, catering to the desires of courtiers and visitors alike. While King Louis XIV publicly championed a stance of morality and decorum, his personal actions often contradicted these ideals. He engaged in numerous affairs, including notable liaisons with prominent mistresses, which were tacitly accepted within the court's culture. To maintain a semblance of order and uphold his moral image, Louis XIV implemented policing measures for sex workers, regulating their activities around the palace. This duality, publicly promoting virtue while privately indulging in vice, reflected the intricate dynamics of power, sexuality, and morality that defined life at Versailles, creating an environment rife with hypocrisy. At Versailles, dental hygiene practices were rudimentary, leading to a prevalence of dental problems among courtiers. The lack of effective dental care resulted in issues such as decay and bad breath, which were particularly concerning in a society that placed immense value on physical appearance. Oral hygiene was crucial to the courtly beauty standards of the time, as a radiant smile was seen as a reflection of health and status. To maintain their appearances, courtiers often resorted to using powders and mouthwashes made from various herbs and ingredients, aiming to freshen breath and mask any unpleasant odors. These beauty ideals emphasize the importance of a polished image, compelling individuals to adopt whatever means necessary to conform to the expectations of elegance and refinement that defined life at the opulent court of Versailles. At Versailles, wigs played a significant role in managing hair hygiene and addressing the pervasive issue of lice. Many courtiers, particularly men, opted for wigs not only to conceal baldness, but also as a protective measure against lice infestations, which were common in the crowded living conditions of the palace. To facilitate wig wearing, it was customary for men to shave their heads, creating a clean slate for the elaborate hairstyles that wigs provided. However, the use of wigs also presented hygienic challenges. Lice could easily infest the wigs themselves, leading to discomfort and social embarrassment. Regular maintenance and cleaning of wigs were essential, yet the realities of lice infestations often made it difficult to maintain the high standards of cleanliness expected at the opulent court, highlighting the complexities of personal hygiene during this era. Hygiene issues at Versailles significantly impacted food preparation, creating a precarious situation for the royal kitchens. The palace suffered from plumbing problems which hindered access to clean water and complicated sanitation efforts. This lack of proper plumbing increased the risk of food contamination, as improperly handled food could easily lead to health hazards for both the courtiers and the staff. The consequences of these hygiene shortcomings were not merely theoretical. King Louis XIV himself experienced health issues, including bouts with intestinal parasites, which were likely exacerbated by the unsanitary conditions surrounding food preparation. These challenges underscored the importance of hygiene in maintaining the health of the court, revealing how the opulence of Versailles was often overshadowed by the lurking dangers of inadequate sanitation and food safety practices. The overall unsanitary conditions at the Palace of Versailles were a significant challenge, particularly given the large population of courtiers and staff residing there. Maintaining cleanliness in such a crowded environment proved difficult, as waste disposal and sanitation practices were often inadequate. The presence of cats, while valued for their ability to control vermin, further complicated sanitation efforts. Their waste contributed to the unpleasant odors and unsanitary conditions throughout the palace grounds. Additionally, the historical context of Versailles being built on poor, marshy land exacerbated these issues, as drainage problems led to stagnant water and increased pest populations. Together, these factors created an environment where hygiene was consistently compromised, revealing the stark contrast between the palace's opulence and the underlying realities of daily life at the court. The origins of color names associated with Versailles are steeped in history and intrigue, reflecting the court's unique culture. One notable example is the color puce, which translates to flea in French. This shade gained popularity during the time of Marie Antoinette, who was known for her extravagant fashion choices. The name is said to have originated from the color of the fleas that infested the royal court, humorously linking high fashion to the less glamorous aspects of court life. Another amusing color name is coq-au-dauphin font, which translates to the color of bird droppings. This whimsical name highlights the playful side of fashion at Versailles. Recognizing the unsanitary conditions that plagued Versailles, Louis XV initiated significant renovations aimed at improving hygiene throughout the palace. The need for these upgrades became increasingly apparent as the court's population grew, exacerbating issues related to waste management and sanitation. One of the key improvements was the extension of sewage pipes, which facilitated better waste disposal and helped mitigate the unpleasant odors that had long been a hallmark of court life. This infrastructural enhancement was crucial in addressing the health risks associated with inadequate sanitation. Overall, Louis XV's renovations aimed to transform Versailles into a cleaner and more hygienic environment, reflecting a growing awareness of public health and the importance of sanitation in maintaining the dignity and grandeur of the royal court. I hope you found the details of this story as fascinating and unsettling as I did. You, mysterious, curious, intellectual, disturbed, beautiful people. My name is Penny Flick, with Kreep-ish. I look forward to sharing more of these stories that captivate and intrigue our minds, which can challenge our way of thinking. Comment on your thoughts below as I continue to uncover the mysteries of our history, true crime, paranormal, conspiracy, and cringe-worthy, creepy content. Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember that the truth is often stranger than fiction.